Thank you for your time this afternoon. My name is Lorna20140727speaking. I want you to picture this. You're 9 years old. You're not really an adult yet, but you want to go with the big kids, and you're still 9, so you still want to be a little kid, and sometimes you talk in a little voice. Today what you're doing is you're doing the dishes. That's all you need to do. You're really involved in doing the dishes because there's a lot of bubbles, all right? Who doesn't like bubbles? So what you've been doing is you've just been pouring more water, making more bubbles. Every now and then you do a dish and you put it in the drying area. And as you're going along, all of a sudden, what happens? You get hit upside the head by your mother. Your ear is ringing. You cannot hear. What happens next? She's shouting at you. She's telling you, "What's the matter with you? How come you can't get this done? Are you stupid? What are you, a donkey?" So my question to me, when I was thinking about this, is what happens to the victims of child abuse? What happens to them as adults? Are they happy? Do they continue on with life? Are they successful? Or are they abusers? Are they lawbreakers? Do they go crazy? What are the long-term effects of child abuse? According to the CDC, the U.S. General Surgeon states under a category of mental health, severe and repeated trauma during youth may have enduring effects upon both neurobiological and psychological development, altering stress responsivity and altering adult behavior patterns. These individuals experience a greatly increased risk of mood, anxiety, and personality disorders throughout adult life. There has been research here about the brain development. As you can see here, a normal brain here, and this is the brain of an abused child. So these are PET scans. This is a Romanian orphan who was institutionalized shortly after birth. You can see the normal brain, all the activity in the brain, and here, very little activity. So what does this do in the long-term effects? Studies have shown that the brain develops in response to experiences, quality and quantity. Meeting these needs creates emotional stability and security. But what happens is, because of all the stressful events, it's like a toxin to the brain. It kills the brain cells. Eventually what happens is this brain becomes a response to stress brain. It's always on. It never turns off. Recently, Harvard researchers, led by Dr. Martin Ticher, used brain scans to show the effects of these child abuses. And this was one of his research scans that he had done. UCLA also did research suggesting that biological embedding occurs through programming brain circuitry in ways that shape response patterns to subsequent stress. Their findings suggested that if there was parental warmth and affection, this would protect one against harmful effects of toxic childhood stress. That being said, that would be if there was someone in the child's life that was loving, kind, responsive, those children actually did better later on in life because they had that one person that supported them. The types of abuse and neglect are physical, emotional, neglect, sexual abuse, and witnessing family violence. In the end, what happens with these people is there is some intergenerational transmission. That means that of all the children that were abused, not all of those people will go on to abuse their children, but significant number of them will. These people suffer from re-victimization, meaning that when they grow up, they have the tendency to accept that that behavior towards them is normal, and they will go on to be abused physically, mentally, and sexually. Health problems. These people experience more health problems, and based back on here, because the development cannot be completed in a normal fashion, they tend to have more diseases like diabetes, gastrointestinal problems, arthritis, headaches, stroke, hepatitis, and heart disease. They are also at risk for neurological, musculoskeletal, respiratory, cardiovascular diseases as well. The biggest part of this is mental health problems. Persisting mental health problems are common consequences of child abuse and neglect in adults. Mental health problems associated with past histories of child abuse and neglect include personality disorders, post-traumatic stress disorder, dissociative disorders, depression, anxiety, and psychosis. But depression is the #1 most common occurring consequence of past abuse and neglect. As well, again, throw in there eating disorders and obesity. These people also are inclined to suicidal behaviors. According to a study done by Adverse Childhood Experience, the ACE study in the United States, indicated that adults exposed to 4 or more adverse experiences in childhood were 12 times more likely to attempt suicide. These people are also prone to alcohol and substance abuse. And they're again related to depression. To get rid of all those feelings, they tend to turn to alcohol and substance abuse. Strong associations have been made between children of abuse and neglect with homelessness, because they're unable to keep jobs and have poor academic in school. This will make it difficult finding employment in adulthood. The relationship between homelessness and adult survivors of abuse and neglect may also be connected to other adverse outcomes such as mental health problems, aggressive and violent behaviors. What's the cost of this to our country? On a yearly basis, it's about $124 billion, according to a recent report from the Centers of Disease Control. Child maltreatment costs are per person $210,000. This is including childhood health at $32,000, healthcare costs at $10,000, adult medical costs $144,000, productivity losses of $7,000. We need to invest in prevention. Prevention of childhood abuse and neglect requires public education, a commitment for communities to provide emotional, social, and financial support to families. Is it possible to live a full, constructive life and even thrive, to enjoy feelings of wholeness, satisfaction in your life, and work as a well and genuine love and trusted person in relationships and more? Understanding the relationship